more video to cover some quick questions that I missed in the other videos. So first things first, disclaimer, this is mostly a tutorial on how, one, just like the basics of using Anki, and two, how to use the Anking step deck in your workflow. If you plan on using any in-house decks or any personal decks or other decks that you find out there, that's on you to figure out how to work that into your workflow. I can't help you, but Anki doesn't mean Anki is a bad tool. You just have to, find your own path. Next thing, Anki is the app that we use to do the spaced repetition learning. The Anking is a guy who popularized. I'm only doing one take. This app for medical students. Here's his YouTube page. It's literally just the Anking at Anking Med. I suggest that you check it out if you want to learn more details about Anki. I just made this tutorial because to give you the high yield stuff really quickly. That way you don't have to go fishing through the video library. Or I know his kind of like 101 is a little bit lengthy. I think this is a little bit shorter, but from here you can always reference this. Or if you see me and you have a quick question after watching all of my videos, a lot of you aren't watching the videos, pull me aside or reference the YouTube page right here. And then lastly, Anki Hub is kind of like Wi-Fi, but for Anki. So what it does, it's not necessary. You do not need it. But what it does is it allows creators or owners of a deck to upload their deck to the hub. Then it allows people to subscribe to that deck. And then as the owner or people that they mark as maintainers or people who can make edits to the deck, make changes, the deck, everyone gets the updates at once everything is synced. So it's like a cloud for Anki decks. You don't need it. It is a nice quality of life thing. I know the membership pricing ranges. I donated it to the Kickstarter a while ago, so I get grandfathered into all the stuff, but it can be worthwhile to you if you want the newest update for the Anking step deck cards. From the downloads that you'll find on the internet, everything will be in there that you need to know, but sometimes they change the wording around or optimize a couple things, merge cards together, delete cards, so you'll get that update. But also, it's really great for if you're making in-house cards with friends. It makes it a lot easier to collaborate and share updates and stuff with your classmates. Next thing, closed deletions. I can't believe I missed this. So I'll bring this up here. So I told you about the 1x1s, but the regular closed deletions, and I already made the card ahead of time. But if you remember, you have the two commands right here to push the interval forward. So to go from C1 to C2, and then to C3, and then you have this, which will keep the interval frozen. Again, you can change the commands. The add-on is literally called the keyboard shortcuts. So you can customize those if you want. Again, if you hover over with the Butler add-on I gave you, it'll tell you the shortcuts for each corresponding one. But anyway, as you cover a word or highlight a word and you cover it, that's you essentially making the card. So then when you go through, I'll do a little preview for you guys to see what it looks like. So remember roughly where things are bracketed. So when you come to the preview now, that was card 1, so it's going to hide card 1 and you have to say the word or whatever. 2, that was card 4, I believe. I don't know. But anyway, card 3. Remember I made 2 card 3, so it's going to block out 2 words. So this is card 3 right now. There you go. So that's that right there. Next thing in the browser. So I want to tell you the difference between a card and a note. So think of note as the parent, cards as the children, and the cards' relationship to each other are siblings. So all of these cards are the sibling to this card, and these cards are the child to this note. So this is the whole note, and these are the cards inside of it. So if you see in the browser here, you can filter by notes or you can filter by cards. These are the children for each card, or yeah, that came from the note. And what's cool about this is when you have it filtered in the card mode only, not in notes, because as you can see, each card can have a different state or a status. So that's why it doesn't work when you're filtering by notes. But when you're filtered by cards, you can look at the colors here, and they correspond to the state that the card is in. So these are suspended because I suspended them beforehand to show you this, and then I made that card live in front of you. You can see that's unsuspended, and unsuspended cards just have like the standard black or gray in the background. The next tip I want to show you. So when you're using your third-party resource, what's really great about the OnKing step deck, which is why I recommend people use it, is that each chapter, video, depending on the resource you use, is filtered and organized in these tags right here. And a really quick way to go through those things is with this little cool command that you put in this text box. You just type XX. What happens is this window pops up, and it allows you to quickly search up decks and tags in this window. So let's say I just watched this video, and what I want to do next is unlock those cards. So I'll just copy the title of the video or the chapter or however it is broken up in your third-party resource of choice. Find the one that you like. Use this time to use your free trial. Click around, see what you like. But anyway, you put it in, and the video pops right up, and it brings up all the relevant cards for that video. Then the next thing you can do is makes it a lot easier when searching through large decks and large chapters, is you can press Command and select any of the statuses here. So what that does is it adds the is suspended status into that search box. So this beginning part is looking for the tag, which is that video, and when you press Command, it's essentially putting "and" in between the tag and the status is suspended. So that way you're only looking through suspended cards, and it just makes going through cards and unsuspending them really easy, because now all I have to do is Command A, Command J, and I have now unlocked these cards for me to review. But just in case you don't believe me that all these videos are, bookmarked and chaptered properly within Anki already, I'll pull up another third-party resource. So there's Turner syndrome here. Obviously, everything's not going to be organized the same, but there's a Kleinfelter's lecture and Sketchy as well. But again, you just start typing in Turner, and you look here, Sketchy, and it's right there for you. So you just select it, and again, I left the is suspended there, so it's going to populate that. But notice how kind of the same cards came up. Now, in Sketchy, this is under the pediatrics section, so there's some peds cards that came up. But if you notice, like when we first searched it up, they're the same cards that were highlighted there when we were up. Next is shift click. So let's say you watched multiple videos. What you can do is, I'm actually going to make this larger to make it easier to see. So if you want to have or in between each parameter when you're searching, you shift click on the things over here. So let's say you watched a specific boot camp video, and let's say you watched a specific pathoma video. Let's say like you watched the pathology to the related topic that you did in boot camp. Even though boot camp has a pathology section, but let's say you used pathoma. So you can do or, and you see the filter up there. And so it'll find cards that either have that specific boot camp tag or that specific pathoma tag. I didn't go and find a specific one. I just wanted you to see the concept overall. And then lastly, no demonstration for you to see, but people asking me about an overall workflow. So this is kind of the bread and butter that I've noticed a lot of my classmates do and a lot of other med students do. So first things first, grab your favorite third-party resource and find the relevant material for the lecture that you're going to get the next day or 2 days ahead or whatever, and watch that video. Unlock the cards. You can either do the cards in the morning when you wake up or right after you watch all of the videos, whenever you want to do them. Then after that, you're going to take your slide deck that the professor is going to present to you tomorrow and just look through it and familiarize yourself with the content on that slide deck. That way you're not seeing it for the first time in lecture the next day or 2 days from now or whenever. Then you're going to get to class and just listen very intently to what the professor is saying. I personally do not take notes. I just listen. But you can take notes again. I think it might be a little bit redundant because you have the cards, which are kind of like your notes already. Or if you want, you can put notes in the little extra section of a card. But it's up to you. Whatever makes you more comfortable. Sometimes writing does help you lock in a little bit more. So what you're doing there is you're listening and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that from my third party. Yeah, I remember that. Oh, that's new. And they seem to be talking about it a lot. So maybe they might test on that. You make a little note for yourself, and then from there, you could take that information and throw it into your own personal deck if it's not reflected in the On King step deck. So there's a false dichotomy a lot of people have where they're like, I have to make my own cards or I have to use a step deck. And they're like, well, how can I trust the step deck? Well, don't just trust it blindly, like trust and verify. If you don't see the card there for the material, then firstly say to yourself, do I even need this card? Like, is it just a simple fact that I can just remember or work through? If not, then just make the card in your own personal deck and have more of a hybrid system. And you're still having less of a card burden than rather trying to recreate all the cards again. You already have one card for you. You don't need to double up on the cards.